Hey, it's Rob Hefner here for the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside. This is Talk of the Town. We're hanging out here in Town Hall, and I've got with me the Mayor Stephanie Irwin. How are you?
Good, Rob. How are you today?
Good. So today we wanted to talk about and let people understand the process that happened based around last week's meeting. And that's where you guys made two changes. One was to the actual map of planned use of the town. And then the next was actually zoning changes to allow for a development to be proposed, not to be built. It's just the beginning stages of doing that. Isn't that correct?
That's exactly right. So in the July Planning and Zoning meeting, they approved the first item that you brought up was the changes to the land use map. And this is on the corner of Shoalo Lake Road and White Mountain Boulevard, right across the highway from the go-kart track.
Right.
So that first step was to change the designation of that to planned development. The second step, the potential developer came to us with a request to rezone from Arlo to partially commercial along the frontage of Shoalo Lake Road, and then planned development in the back portion. And that would allow for residential development in the back corner.
Yeah, so in reality, the zoning up front was commercial. They extended it around a corner a little bit to allow for what they showed as a map. But
that's right. They have this vision, which they brought a conceptual site plan to us, which shows some commercial development along the front of both of those streets, a boutique hotel right about in the center of the property, and then some townhomes along the back. And that is just their conceptual plan. They have not done any engineering. They have not done drainage studies, traffic studies, any of those things yet, because those are all expensive.
Right.
And they're not going to want to do those until they're sure that the zoning can be changed to accommodate what their vision is.
Yeah, so let me clear that up a little bit, because the showing of the map, the conceptual, gives you the idea that you guys just approved that, and you didn't.
Absolutely not. They're going to have to submit very, very detailed plans to our building administrator, Jeremiah Lloyd, and he will look at them for accuracy as far as the professional things that the council doesn't have the knowledge, the drainage studies, the traffic studies, those types of things. We rely on our staff to review those plans and make sure that they're accurate in that regard. And then it comes to the council and we look at it and make sure it's something that we feel fits in Pinetop-Lakeside.
Okay, so you did the zone map, the zone change. You ended up making the zone change based upon the land use map first, because that has to be done first. And then you did the second step, which was the zoning. So it allows residential in certain areas and commercial in the other area of that property.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, that they can't build a thing, right?
No, because they have not submitted any pure site plans. They've got to have, for the residential part, some kind of a subdivision plan. There's going to be required open space back there, buffering that we would like to see them do alongside the other residences along there. So there's a long, long way to go. Okay.
So during the meeting, some people got a little excited and were a little emotional over the fact. And they're like, well, you need to table this and think about it more. And at that point in time, you literally said, well, no, because there's so many more steps to go. All of the studies still have to be done. All of the plans have to be submitted. They got to get down to detail. It's never just here's a map of what it looks. It looks like that. And having been on a planning and zoning commission before, I can understand how the map might not look much different. This map that they're showing us today might not look much different when you look at a map that shows them what they're going to build. But the whole details aren't there yet. And those all have to be approved by staff and get through that gateway. They have to literally be approved by staff before they can be presented as a plat design or anything to planning and zoning. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. It'll go to planning and zoning and it'll come to the council. And we will have the ultimate say. And to the comments that this was rushed, I think the developer has been meeting with our staff for a long time, making sure that they had all their things done properly. And during the time between the zoning commission meeting and the town council meeting, most of the council actually went and walked the property, either with some of the neighbors or with a potential developer. And so we saw the vision he's got on the property. It's really a beautiful piece of property when you get up in there.
Yeah. And just so people understand, legally, all of council can't go at once up to the place and look at it.
That's exactly right. So we're always very cautious of that. And if 3 of us go, we don't talk to any other council members because that would create a quorum. So we're very, very conscious of that. Our town manager can go
Right.
with 3 of us, and that's not a quorum, but 3 or 4 council, we would never do that.
Yeah, so it's very important. And there's a lot of detail around the fact that we don't have these communications via email. There's not a all blast email where everybody talks to everybody once back and forth. So all of the actual discussion about yes or no or getting all the details are done in front of the public right there in the meetings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the public has the opportunity to comment. As you said earlier, there was a lot of emotion on this. I think there's a lot of emotion and passion for this project, because if we don't start doing some things here in this community, we're just going to kind of shrivel up and die.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about council and you in the mayor's seat. You are specifically elected. I mean, there's a process to go out and be elected. You got to go out and collect signatures every single time, right?
Every time, yep.
Yeah, you got to collect a certain amount of signatures. Then you got to get yourself on the ballot. Then you put yourself out there. You are elected to be the voice of the people. Isn't that correct?
That's right. We were all elected to do what we feel is best for the entire community, not what our individual feelings are. I mean, granted, our feelings are factored into our decisions. That's human nature. But when I look at a project, I look at what's good for the entire community. And that's sometimes hard for people to swallow. Change is never easy. But change is necessary. Like I said, we'll be stagnant if we don't change.
Yeah, we had a gentleman definitely from the floor. You can go back and look at the meeting. I'll give you the link to the meeting here. You can go watch the meeting. That called out that, we're going to be a bunch of just little curio shops and simple things and nothing and thrift stores. And while those are awesome for a community, that shouldn't be the only thing that exists in the community.
No, and I think the kind of exciting part of this project is it is mixed use.
Yeah.
He's got an idea that he could put like a little coffee shop in the front, maybe some retail. I don't know if the property's big enough, just because of my knowledge, for any kind of a big market. But that would be a dream for the whole community, I think. And the public surveys showed that people want that.
Having been, like I said, on planning and zoning, and it was with the city of Show Low, the only other hotels I ever saw there was they were going to level the ground, build up the foundation, and build a building. This isn't that. This is from conceptually what he's talking about is he actually works within the outcroppings of rocks and works himself into nature, which is kind of cool.
It really is. There's a very interesting formation there. It's almost like a natural amphitheater that you wouldn't know unless you walked this property. And he plans to use that as a focal point for the hotel and maybe have water features or something where that would be an event center or a place for somebody to have a high school reunion or some little small gatherings like that. So I think it could be really a show place for us.
Awesome. Now, being that you're the elected voice of the people, when are you available to the constituents?
Anytime people want to give me a call or email, I will make myself available within reason, of course.
Yeah, of course. You've got to sleep and you do have family time.
Well, that and a business to run.
There's that. And that's pretty much goes for, I don't know any other council member that's any different than that.
No,
awesome.
We're all very available.
Okay. Anything else you'd want people listening to know?
I would just like to let the community know that we are very serious about making this into a nice development, and we will make sure the developer, follows all the rules and regulations and does even a step beyond that. So I do think it will be what everybody wants, and that's quality development.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Mayor Irwin, for your time today. That's going to be it for this episode of Talk of the Town. I'm Rob Hefner here for the Town of Pinetop-Lakeside. Check all our information below, and if you have any questions, just let us know.